Hello, this is Chuck Solomon, and welcome to the Candidate Experience Podcast, where we focus on the job candidate journey from apply to onboard and the space in between. Let's get started. You care about the candidate experience, but have you ever wondered exactly how to bring your company to that next level and offer a world-class experience to your candidates? It's not easy. Fortunately, Candidate.fyi can help. Their solution guides candidates through your hiring journey, enhancing transparency and communication at every touch point. You'll also gain valuable insights on what's working and what's not with your hiring process. Best of all, it integrates directly with your ATS. Head on over to Candidate.fyi and see how to transform your company's candidate experience today. Welcome to the Making Wellness a Part of Your Culture episode, where my special guest, Suthar, founder of Squirrel, shares his insights into why wellness is good for both the candidate and the employee alike. Pay special attention to what he has to say about making physical, emotional, and financial wellness part of your company's culture, even at small and medium-sized companies. If you like what you hear on this podcast, please subscribe and do share with others. Want to comment, discuss, provide feedback, you can send me a note via LinkedIn or via the contact form on our site, thecx.xyz. I thank you for listening, and here's my interview. Did you wake up one day and think, oh, I'm going to create this app that's going to help with wellness? How did that come about? Or maybe you woke up several nights in a row thinking, man, we need to talk about wellness.
Yeah, no, it's a very, it was a very haphazard and not a straight line at all in that story and how I fell into it. The past 4 years, I've been working as a designer, focusing on helping people face their financial stress and those issues. I helped a major
Sure.
a major bank basically roll out a nationwide program to talk about your financial stress with the life coach. And it got me to realizing that a lot of the most interesting problems we have lie across industries, and the industry will just get focused on fixing one facet of the problem, but the whole problem doesn't really get resolved or
Sure.
even met. And none could be truer than financial and physical wellness. Um, and so as I started digging deeper into it, my first prototype that I made was I harassed about 40 of my friends and family to text me a screenshot of their steps every night. And in the morning, I would text them with a number they didn't know I had, pretending to be an app, sending on them all kinds of motivation and trying to tie steps to a savings amount. And the
Sure.
theory there was, if I can correlate that, maybe if you're goals driven, you'll want to, you'll be happy about the money that you're saving, but then there'll be this tangential benefit of you're getting more active, or vice
Sure.
versa if you're more values based. And uh, we learned a lot about psychology of uh, motivation, and I'll say this: the biggest learning was people already have all the skills they need. It's not that these apps and these things don't really make people do something new. That
Sure.
potential is always lying within you. It's just, can I get you to look at it in a different way and sustain that new mentality to bring about the change that you desire, even for yourself, right?
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
yeah. So yeah,
I would interject that. I started wearing a Fitbit. Um, Free plug for Fitbit here. But I started it in December, I think. And one of the things that is sort of Pavlovian for me is that at 10 minutes before every hour, which is going to happen in like 5 minutes right now, if I haven't moved 250 steps in the last hour, it's going to let me know by buzzing on me. And I know, I don't think I'm tethered to a cord right now, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get my 250 steps in this hour there. But it's actually helped me a lot. And I actually have my family members who actually say, "How many steps do you have?" And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, "Let's see your Fitbit." So like I'm required to show them like my Fitbit whenever they ask for it. So I'm not. So and then they say to me, "You're lying." I'm like, the Fitbit doesn't lie. So I, and I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's actually a great point. Fitbit is a world class company that makes great hardware. The problem that we found though was once we launched our consumer app, um, like we were like, all right, we had this idea in our minds that we're going to launch this consumer app. It's going to be great. People are going to just love it, and just thousands of people are going to flock to it.
Sure.
And that didn't happen. And we were scratching our heads. We're like, what happened? We thought we did everything right. We, built iteratively, we concepted and slowly built off of user feedback. And the insight here was just because you build it, people won't necessarily come because there's
Sure.
just so many fantastic solutions and great products out there. How will your user find it? So when we went exploring that space, the answer to that question is when we really found that workplace is where we're going to find our users. It was 190 million Americans in the workforce, roughly,
Yep.
and um, and these little increments really add up. So even if you walk as little as 3,000 steps a day, within a year with Squirrel, you can save $1,000 for yourself, which 60% of Americans don't have.
Sure.
Um, and with the steps, it's I mean the 10,000 steps is great, but that's really not the goal. The goal is if I can get you to just even move 2,000 steps more a day and keep it as your habit, that's an 8% reduction in the risk of chronic cardiovascular diseases. And I think the CDC quoted that if every American walked 10,000 steps a day, the American healthcare economy would save $550 billion every year spent on treating chronic cardiovascular diseases. So the impact societally is reducing the strain on our healthcare system.
Right. So did I hear you correctly? $500 billion saved if people walked just 10,000 steps. Is that just the U.S. alone, or is that worldwide?
No, that's just US alone, and
Oh
that's
wow.
annual spend. Yeah.
Amazing. You had mentioned I think you were mentioning mindfulness, which is another, I think, huge stress reducer. Can you speak to that and how you're tracking that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a new component that came in where we realized that between the physical and financial information, there's still something missing at the core, which is just, hey, we do these things to really improve our level of confidence and happiness with ourselves, right? But what felt wrong was if I look at my financial goal or my steps goal, um, happiness shouldn't be based on an outcome or condition. And we really, sometimes we don't have the literacy tools to help us learn that. I certainly didn't know this until um, only a couple years ago when I started writing a daily gratitude journal,
Sure.
talking about write 5 things that every morning that you're grateful for. So I took a microcosm of that and I injected it into the app. And what it does is every morning you review the steps that you took yesterday. You get confidence that like, hey, I built something, I did something, and it's recognizing me for it, which is great. And then your first prompt in the day is uh, record one thing that you feel grateful for, and then pick an emoji, 1 of 10, how it makes you feel. So just the journaling of it takes maybe 10 to 30 seconds at most. And then we visualize that day over day, week over week, month over month. And in a non-judgmental fashion, you get to see how much your emotions are really fluctuating, right? And over time, our hope is, or the intention is, it'll stabilize, and you'll realize that despite of whatever's happening, of how many steps you took or how much savings you incurred, your happiness is consistent, and you know where it's coming from. And that's what the gratitude really teaches you.
Sure. Tell me, because this show is about improving the candidate journey, improving the candidate experience. I think I've mentioned to you in passing that the reason why I started this is because I just keep hearing about these negative experiences that job candidates are having, and it sort of precipitated me wanting to have an outlet to sort of help highlight the better things that are happening. But you know, how would this impact either the candidate experience or onboarding, like in a workplace?
Yeah, that's a great point. So our employers are looking for that. I mean, they can't compete dollar for dollar with enterprise companies in regards to
Sure.
benefits, right? And often employers kind of get positioned right now unfairly as the wrongdoer in this process, where honestly, high deductible plan is all that they can afford, and
Right.
the costs are increasing on them, on the employers and the consumers. A level of care is decreasing, and it's making all this care further out of reach. So,
Sure.
what we're trying to do is help help these businesses find a smart way to tap into things that people are already doing and make wellness part of their culture, so they can make this benefit a lot more, not just a benefit, but actually more of a culture reinforcement uh, structure. So what this looks like for remote teams is remote teams sometimes are missing that fabric of something that they do in common all together to discuss, right? Walking is
Sure.
something most of us already do. So we have a leaderboard we call League, where um, you can select which of your coworkers you want to see and compete with, and it's a weekly challenge. And then you can even actually give likes to people. So maybe some of your colleagues just don't average that many steps, but you can still reinforce them with a few likes, and they stay encouraged to stay active. So and then with the Slack integration that we're working on, like we can really make that part of the conversation for remote teams,
Sure.
which is really powerful. For labor intensive jobs like a construction team, this is really flipping the paradigm, because we think about construction workers as these unfit people, but they're
Sure.
like they don't need to go to the gym. Their work is at the gym almost, right? There's a lot of
Right. Yeah.
effort that goes into that, and I think what it does is it starts making them think that, like, oh, we're already doing this, and then there's a democratizing effect where, like, the boss is has the same health challenge as his employees and his contractors, and they all like kind of realize that they're one team in that way. And these small things have a really big impact on the company culture. And
Sure.
so, and then ultimately, the other main point is, while when you're fully insured for the employer, while this doesn't affect their bottom line directly, because really the insurance company pays for the fluctuation claims in a fully insured environment. At the end of the year, though, that insurance company that sees more claims will increase their deductible on the employer. So this is kind of like, hey, as an employer, I can drive I can do something about that to at least maintain or lower the chances of that deductible increasing by employing a program like this. And we're working on becoming a government recognized wellness program by the end of this year, so we can help our customers prepare tax deduction um, for whatever they spend on the program. So I think like up to 40%, depending on which state you're in. So instead of spending like $40 per month per employee for a gym membership, and you don't know the ROI, or something even more expensive that's integrated with your healthcare program, this is a value add on top of anything, any health insurance program that costs maybe $60 per employee per year.
Wow. So I get it. I get it. If you want to express your company culture, which I think that's what job seekers are they're looking for. They could go to work anywhere if they have certain skills, pretty much. But what they're looking for, what they're really looking, or what I hear is that they're looking for a culture that they can be supportive of, and then having a culture that is maybe they aren't the fittest, but they know they want to be fitter. I think is a admirable goal for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Our motto kind of for our program is we have a bias towards action. So
Right?
and the reason for that is the part of your brain that does computation and stores the memory of like what you did earlier today isn't the part of the brain that stores the memory of your habits. And so by
Sure.
doing and nudging and using positive psychology and building, we'd rather just teach you by doing rather than teach you by telling. And that's where the effect of these programs, our program is really latent. It's not going to look like a hockey stick curve where everyone's running a marathon in a week, but what it does look like on average over 166 days, our users have at least added 2,000 steps to their habit, and then it tangentially significantly reduced their financial stress because now they've at least saved $400 within half a year with the app, which again, 40% of Americans don't even have that for an emergency spend without borrowing. That's where we're unique in how we define holistic wellness because we're empowering, we're drawing a straight line between physical, emotional, and financial wellness.
Gotcha. I don't know if it's too early to tell, but do you have like any anecdotes from the employers that are in your pilots?
Yeah,
What they're seeing?
yeah, I think the hardest work we're putting in right now with before finishing our pilot is really taking all the strain of uh, maintaining a wellness program and having fresh challenges every week out of the hands of the benefits manager. Because really, when you're a small team, you're already strapped for time and resources. So we're automating everything end to end and just making it as simple as possible and taking all the friction out. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that we've got from our our employers is that it's had this effect on even the kind of snacks and things that people have had around the office, and it's inspired them to have new practices where they're having like walking 10 meetings rather than sitting down and being sedentary. So people are taking this and really running with it and making it their own, which we love to hear.
Sure. A little bit of nuts and bolts here is does it require another piece of hardware like a Fitbit tracker, or does it just work within the app?
No, that's the best part. We don't proprietarize your health data. In fact, we just integrate to read the health data from either Apple Health or Google Fit. So
Okay,
that's from your phone. But if you have one of those respective wearables, we read from that data as well. And of course, you can download that data from those apps at any point. We're just reading it. So it's not that like, now it's become our intellectual property or anything like that. We're very um, clear about the use of the data that we have access to and how it's used.
that's good to hear. So it seems like great stuff here, and I definitely see how this would especially benefit those, as you mentioned, sort of strapped HR professionals that are, um, you know, they've got they've got to worry about onboarding and recruiting and and benefits management and stuff like this. This seems like a, a pretty much a no brainer and stuff if they want to add something to not only the sort of the candidate experience, but also, the employee experience as well. So sounds great. Good stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just want to make sure, even if we want to improve the candidate experience, you can't just solve for one person. You've got to solve for everyone. And that's what we're trying to do.
Excellent. So if people want to get in touch with you or learn about more about your product, how would they do that?
That's a great question. So our website is going to go through a revamp where we'll have a form to fill out to get in touch. But
Hmm.
until then, you can reach out to me via our website. We do have a contact us form, and our website is squirrel.me. So it's HTTPS www.sqrl.me.
Squirrel.me. Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I really look forward to following your podcast, and I think you're doing a great thing surfacing the candidate experience.
Thank you, Om. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Candidate Experience podcast. You can reach out to us via our website, thecx.xyz. That's THECX.xyz.